Hello, welcome to FrightFest TV.
Hello there.
My name's Stuart. Wright. Please tell us your name and your role in the film Outpost.
My name's Joe Lo Truglio, and I'm the writer and director of Outpost.
So, as the writer-director, where for you was the kernel, or what for you was the kernel of the idea that sort of led us to this world premiere we're sitting at today?
Well, I've been wanting to make horror movies since I was about 13 years old. I was a horror fan before I was a comedy fan. This particular story, the horror movies that I loved, revolved around descents into madness. And I also wanted, I knew it was going to be an independent movie, and that we needed to have the small cast and good production value. So I said, let's try to shoot it on a mountain. Well, we can get all of those things. Yeah.
Now, you've directed short form stuff. This is the first feature film, am I right?
This is, I've done some short films. I did an episode of the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine that I was in, but this is my first feature film, yeah.
So, in that sense, you know, what's the step up when you get to direct a feature film? Obviously, an indie film where presumably there's a lot more stake.
Yeah, with the difference between the two. Well, I think with with Outpost, I'm able to kind of play with the camera a little bit more, and the shot selection is bigger when you're doing a television show. Often the visual language is already set for that show.
Yeah.
So in doing Outpost, I was able to really think about some movies that inspired me, some shots that inspired me, and it was also great to have a cast full of friends.
Yeah.
They're people that I've known for a while.
Yeah.
That really helped with chemistry. That's part of the answer there.
No.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're best known to people who probably watch this for Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Sure.
But what's interesting is that I had two people come up to me today already, knowing you were coming into town, and say, "Oh, he's on the Shudder 101 best thing."
Yes.
So you've been hiding this horror bug under a bushel, haven't you?
For a while, yeah. I grew up with Stephen King and collected Fangoria. I mean, I'll do a shout out to Phil Noble, the editor-in-chief over there in Fangoria, who introduced me to a lot of the horror community. Jed Shepard as well. And that's how I got involved with Shudder and that program. But for me, the horror, that's what it started it all for me.
Yeah.
I saw Jaws, like many people, and wanted to know, how did they do that? Like, how did they make that work? And then it was off to the races, and I feel, being a child of the golden age of horror, which I feel 70s and 80s, it just hooked me, and I stayed hooked.
Now, your wife is the lead in this film.
Yes.
So, when you're working with your partner like that,
very popular question. Yeah.
So, how do you switch off at night when you're on a shoot?
Well, what we do is get separate rooms, and that's the truth. Yeah, we talked about it. We said, listen, how do we want to work this? Because as anyone that made movies knows, the high pressure situation, and certainly independent movies, is 10 times that.
Yeah.
And we knew that we each had our own duties as an actor, as a director, respectively, that we had to take care of. And it's best to have some space after a day is done. So I think that saved the marriage, having separate rooms, being able to kind of decompress on our own, look at tomorrow's work without worrying about waking the other person up.
Now, Kate, the character, your wife, goes on this wild journey from.
Yes.
And I think, people are going to see this interview after they've seen your world premiere. It's almost like she goes. It's I'm trying to think of the way to describe it. It's like you think you're going to watch a film about a woman in peril.
That's right.
And then flip us in the film. You go, no, it's not. I remember when I'm watching the film, and like, she gets into bed that first night in the Outpost. Like, I know, I've seen this horror film before.
Yeah.
And then slowly, it's like, no, I've not.
Yeah. Oh,
no,
well, that's wonderful to hear. I wanted to do a movie where we can get a POV of the person who is in pain. And, this movie is about a woman who runs up a mountain to find peace of mind, but it's not up there. Peace of mind isn't anywhere if you're running to find it, right? So it was just wonderful to have Beth really take that character and really bring it to life. She's incredible in the movie.
And one last question.
Yeah.
You're in Empire Leicester Square for a world premiere, which is kind of like a legendary venue for premieres.
Indeed.
How does that feel?
Humbling. I'm flattered to be invited to FrightFest. I'm outside my lane. I didn't stay in my lane. And Alan and Paul and Ian and Greg, said yes when a lot of people said no. I'm really thrilled to be here. The last time I was here, actually, was for the premiere of the movie Paul, with two other incredible friends and actors, many others. And that was the last time I was here, so it was 10 years ago. So it's a bit of coming home, a return.
Now, just very quickly then, what do you think Boyle would think of the film?
Oh, he wouldn't go near the theater. He'd be too afraid. He'd jump right out. He wouldn't get past the opening credits.
Right, well, thank you very much for your time on FrightFest TV.
Yeah, thanks.